The stance Jordan takes in the passage is best described as that of general question here, one we would normally leave into the end, but the order of the videos compels me to do this one first. But when you're doing the questions, of course, you would do questions 15 to 19 and read this passage before you watch this section of videos. And when you would do these questions, you would leave this one until the end, just because you'll do the specifics first and then leave anything general until you've done the entire passage. You've read it in order to answer the specifics. So what is the stance that Jordan takes in this passage? The key part, and there's a number of key parts, but the key part is in the beginning, where the author, where Jordan says, "My faith in the Constitution is whole, it is complete, it is total. And I'm not going to sit here and be an idle spectator to the diminution, the subversion, the destruction of the Constitution." So she is laying out a very clear faith and belief in the Constitution as a whole, and she's not going to see it subverted or destroyed in any way. So looking at the choices, let's see what we can get rid of. Is she an idealist setting forth principles? Well, certainly we've seen the idealist. That's in the first part. We'll have to double check to make sure that she's setting forth principles. But certainly she's an idealist, right? She's not going to compromise on the Constitution, right? It's this. Her faith in it is whole. It's complete. It's total. It's not something she's going to modify. Is she an advocate seeking a compromise position? So certainly she's an advocate. Compromise position? I don't think so. That seems pretty weak. Because, again, as we talked about in A, she's not really trying to compromise. She's trying to show her faith in the Constitution as a whole. An observer striving for neutrality, just from that first paragraph, we can get rid of C. She's not trying to be neutral here. A scholar researching a historical controversy, no. If you look at the blurb, right, what this is about, you'll see that she's in the United States Congress, and she's making a speech about the use of impeachment in the context of the impeachment hearings against Richard Nixon. So she's not simply she's not simply a scholar researching a controversy. She's in the controversy. So if we keep reading, we'll notice that we can find places where she's setting forth principles, right? Here's a principle. The powers relating to impeachment are an essential check in the hands of the body of the legislature. Later, we can see something right here. The framers confided in the Congress the power, if need be, to remove the president in order to strike a delicate balance between a president swollen with power and grown tyrannical and the preservation of the independence of the executive. Right? So that would be another principle. So the author here, Jordan, is laying out what she believes the role of impeachment is and how it works within the Constitution itself, showing this is how impeachment should be done. These are the reasons why impeachment was laid out in this way. This is why the procedure was set up by the founders, and this is why we should stick to the Constitution in whole and not try to compromise it or change it. So looking at the choices, we can definitely go with A. She is setting forth principles, and she is, most importantly, an idealist. But she's not seeking a compromise position. Nowhere does she say, well, the other side has this point, so we should maybe go with what they say too. We should try to find something in the middle. No, she's laying out, this is what the Constitution says. We must follow the Constitution. It's been put in place for a wise reason, these procedures, so we should follow it and not try to change it at all. So that would fit better with A than it would with choice B. So the answer is A. This is a pretty difficult question overall. It's a hard question in a difficult passage, so pretty challenging. Again, you might need to know a little bit of vocab, so you need to know what an idealist is. You need to know what an advocate is. So this test is not going to be completely free from vocabulary. But overall, yeah, tough question, I think, because you need to read the whole passage, you need to understand what the author is saying, and you need to kind of find those pieces that support choice A over the other choices. So it's pretty challenging. This passage is one of the new types of passages, I guess you can call them, that they're adding to the reading section, called the Great Global Conversation, I believe is how they frame it. So basically stuff from the founding of the United States. So as you can see here, discussion of the Constitution at least, right? So about really important documents politically in the United States and just overall the great conversation about political life, social life that people have been having through history and till today. So it seems like they're trying to add more kind of like history to it, just like they've added science. We saw in the previous passage, they're trying to make more of a passage based on history, current events, political culture, that kind of thing. So we'll see where they go with it. And certainly knowing something about the Constitution might help, just at least give you a framework to understand this. But we'll see what they do with these. This one was pretty hard, I think. So we'll see if they continue to make these as difficult as this one was.